This is going to be the greatest case study in the history of college football to date. And this is why. Because last year's team in Colorado went 1-11.
Usually God give me a word long before this, but he's been holding it. Because it's not about them. This is about us. This has nothing to do with the team that's opposing us. This is about us. This ain't got nothing to do with the naysayers, the unbelievers, the haters, the doubters. This is about us. When we started this journey, we told you it was going to be trying, it was going to be tough, but you endured because it's about us. That man next to you is a miracle. That man next to you is a believer. That man next to you is a go-getter. That man next to you is a dog. That man next to you is somebody who wants this thing. That man next to you is somebody who believes. That man next to you is somebody that gots to have it today. We ain't got tomorrow. We got now. We ain't got next. We got now. We ain't coming no more. We here. Since y'all know we here, give me my theme music.
I don't know if you guys saw this or not over the weekend, but did any of you get the opportunity to watch the Colorado versus TCU football game on Saturday? If you didn't, let me break it down for you real quick. Coach Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, making his debut at the BCS level, at the Power 5 level, coaching Colorado, a team that was 1-11 just less than 365 days ago. Last season, 1-11 with an average beating differential, meaning they got beat by an average of 29.2 points per game. That is something where a athletic director or a president of a company could come in and say, hey, this is a liability. Let's get rid of the program. That's how bad it was at Colorado. And Coach Prime comes in, and this is in December of 2022, and pretty much cleans house. And with the new transfer portal rules and with the new NIL deals and how college has now kind of leaned on being a professional style sport, this is going to happen. I, as a former player, didn't think it was going to happen this soon, but here we are. Here we are, the first week of the season, and we're already talking about a little bit of a turnaround in Colorado. Now, listen, it didn't take a rocket scientist or a brain surgeon to figure out that Colorado was going to be better this year than they were last year. The expectations for the fans of Colorado should have been to win a minimum of 2 games. And I think currently they're at 1. So they've already matched last year, and it was in pretty dominant fashion and exciting fashion, which is the only way Prime knows how to do it, which is flashy, flamboyant, confidence, cocky. But man, he talks his talk, but that man does walk his walk. Now let me tell you something about Coach Prime. I've been following him now since he's been at Jackson State as a coach, and a lot of people are going to tell you this when he came to Jackson State. And a lot of people are not going to want to admit this, but this is what the common consensus was, or the average fan that didn't know much about ball was saying when Coach Prime made it to Jackson State. He's not going to make it. He's just a gimmick. He's just a player. He doesn't know how to coach. You know, just because you're a good ball player doesn't mean it's going to translate into coaching. And all of those things are, you could take those with a grain of salt, but they all could also be true. Listen, 2 things can be true at the same time. That is my message for the year. 2 things can be true at the same time. But listen, if you study football and if you know exactly what it takes to be one of the greats, not just good, but one of the greats, right? So Deion Sanders is known for being the greatest cornerback of all time. Also known for being the greatest or one of the greatest 2-sport athletes of all time. The man played baseball and football on the same day. It's really hard to beat what he's done in his career. So to think that he's not going to be successful at whatever he does is a little bit ignorant, especially looking at his track record and realizing Everywhere he's been, he has won. Everywhere he has been him. Everywhere he has been, he has found success at the highest level. So why would we, as consumers of the sport, think that anything different was going to happen? Especially when he's bringing talent like he's bringing, because of his name, because of his personality, because of his brand, because of the exposure that he brings. That's how he's able to recruit this type of talent. And he's got a guy on his team named Travis Hunter, which I don't know if you guys know or not, but might be right now at a very young age, a true sophomore, might be the best player in college football. And I would love to hear you guys debate that. But listen, I've played for a long time. I've been around a bunch of high-level athletes. I've seen guys on both sides of the ball. I've seen guys that could play both ways but don't at the college level, just because you have to put so much time and effort into mastering one position and remembering that playbook that it's so hard to be able to do another thing. Sometimes even special teams is tough. Being able to have to play defense and then go to special teams, or play offense and go to special teams, that's tough because that's two separate playbooks. And the special teams playbook is very small compared to an offensive or defensive playbook. But you got a guy like Travis Hunter, who played 80% of the snaps on Saturday. I believe he played upwards of 120 plus snaps on both sides of the ball. In perspective, the most snaps that I ever played was against Georgia Southern. My senior season, I believe, we went into like 3 or 4 overtimes, and I think we played upwards of 80 snaps in that game. That's a triple option style team in multiple overtimes. He almost did that in the first half. It's unbelievable what these guys are doing, but I want to break down some of the numbers, and I want to break down why this is going to be the greatest case study in the history of college football to date. And this is why, because last year's team in Colorado went 1-11. Last year's team now only has a remaining like 10 players on it. There's 86 new players on this team since Deion Sanders arrived in Boulder, Colorado. 56 of them whom are transfers. 63 of them, I believe, which is including his recruiting class and the transfers. It's a complete roster overhaul. If you look at the talent on this team compared to the talent on last year's team had a handful of 4 stars, and a majority of them were 3-star players. Sounds halfway decent, right? Well, now he's got multiple 5-star athletes, and Travis Hunter has to count as 2 because he plays on both sides of the ball. So that's like having 2 5-star athletes. I honestly think that 24/7 and all the recruiting websites and ESPN or whoever, they need to have a 6-star athlete. And that's for an athlete that is unbelievably great, but also playing on both sides of the ball. Because I think we're going to see more of that in college football. I think it needs to start at the high school level, and these high schools need to start letting their kids play both ways instead of making them pick a position in high school, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. So anyways, more Travis Hunter style players. And that's going to be a game changer in this league, because we really haven't seen that since Chris Gamble at Ohio State in 2002, Charles Woodson a little bit in the late 90s at Michigan. But still, you could look at Chris Gamble's stats from 2002, and Travis Hunter's going to beat that this year. So it's unbelievable what these guys are willing to do. And he's bringing over other transfers from Jackson State, from the FCS level, HBCU level, the level that I played at, because I know, listen, the skills position was not the difference between BCS and FCS. That's not the difference. The difference in those two leagues is the offensive and defensive line and the depth in those positions across the board, right? You go to Alabama, you pretty much have a 5 to 4-star at second string to third string. You're at Chattanooga, you got some really good players first string, and then it's going to start to drop off pretty drastically there towards the end. So that's the difference, right? But he brings over his son who's been, mentored a little bit by Tom Brady, mentored by his dad, right? Deion Sanders, surrounded by all this greatness. Terrell Owens, Michael Irvin, Warren Sapp, all these guys throughout the years surrounding these guys, right? They only know winning. If you look at Shedur's record all the way back through little league to high school to college. The kid has only lost like 6 ball games in his life. So to tell him that he can't do something is absolutely ridiculous as well. Shiloh Sanders on the defense had 10 tackles from safety. So it was a great day for the Sanders family. But Dylan Edwards, that freshman, true freshman, you know how hard it is to be a true freshman and to step up in that type of a game, to catch a ball on 4th and 2, take it to the house for the go-ahead touchdown there at the very end. What happened on Saturday is absolutely unbelievable. Let's get back into the numbers of the Great Reset. So here we go. We have all these different people that are on this team, all these different stars that are on this team. The team is better, but yet everybody was still comparing them to the 1-11 team of last year and the team of old of Colorado. You can't do that. You have to know that Deion's going to bring in the same mentality and the same mindset that he would bring into any school. And he's always won everywhere. So if he could get these guys to believe, then it was going to be tough to beat them. Now, let me talk to you a little bit about behind the scenes of college football. When a coach comes up to you and you have a motto going into the season, yes, you believe. You believe you're going to win. But yeah, also in the back of your head, until you actually win, you don't really know. You don't really know if you're going to win or not. So yes, you believe, but you also have a little bit of self-doubt. And then you win, and then you believe a little bit more. And then you win again, and you believe a little bit more. But we had so many times at Chattanooga to where we built this brand and we built this, this team, this belief mindset that we were going to come out and this was going to be the year of the SoCon. We were going to win, go undefeated, national championship, all this stuff. And then you get out there and you play App State in the first game and you get up 21-0. You got a whiteout. You got 18,000 fans of a packed house in Finley Stadium going crazy. And then App State comes back and beats you in the second half because they're used to winning and we're not. So the toughest thing to do is to take a team that is accustomed to losing, a fan base that is accustomed to losing, and winning the tough game, winning the big game at the very beginning of the season. Usually that takes time. Most coaches get a little bit of a window. Coaches get time to come in 2 to 3, 4 years to rebuild a program. I think Deion Sanders just killed that for all the coaches this past weekend. Because look what he did. A 1-11 team. Very little talent compared to what the talent is this year. He came in and pretty much drastically, overnight, snapped his fingers and said, I ain't hard to find. We coming. I'm bringing my Louis bag. And listen, we're going to get some athletes in here. They're going to be dogs. They're going to be leaders. They're not going to be captains. They're going to be dogs and leaders. And we're going to win. And they're going to believe. And he preached this every single day. Look at the man's Twitter. Every single day it seems like he tweets win. Every single day he has a motivational quote, a word of the day. He's showing these guys something. He's staying on these boys. He's driving in that confidence. And listen, let me tell you something. When a team like that has the athletes that they do start to really believe, man, they're going to be tough to beat. Really tough to beat. So I hope you guys come along for the journey on this case study, because this case study is going to be going on for the rest of the season. And I think it's going to be really, really, really cool to see how it turns out, because this could change college football in the direction of coaching for the future, indefinitely. But I want to talk to you about how this could change your business, how this could change your logistics operation. Think about your team currently. Is your team a national championship caliber team? If you had to give a star rating, well, let's break it down into football sense. If you had to give a star rating to your players or to your employees, 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, no stars, walk on, what are your starters? Who are your starters, right? What are they? What's your talent level on your team? Are you made up of 5 stars that are underperforming? Or are you made up of 3 stars that are busting their ass and they're overperforming in the cards that they're dealt? I don't know. But I think that we all need to look at Coach Prime for a little motivation and look at this and say, hey, what does our team look like? What type of talent do we have? What's our leadership look like? What's our message look like? How are we doing our daily duties? What's our habits? Do you believe? Do you believe in the vision that your company is portraying? I don't know, man. I've got a lot to think about. I've thought about this a lot over the weekend. And I've really got to dive deep on this, and I've got to ask myself a lot of questions as well, because I think you're going to see this first in college football with the NIL, the transfer portal, the abilities these people have. I think you're going to see this first in college football. And if Deion Sanders has much more success this season, and he has a winning season, or he competes for a championship somehow or another, or he makes, a run there towards the end, anything can happen in college football. Maybe they don't win another game, right? Maybe this is just the tip of the iceberg. Maybe they don't win another game. I doubt that. But let's say they exceed expectations this year. Every single president, every single general manager, from the professional to the college level, is now going to say, why are we waiting so long for people to have success at these programs with these recruiting classes when we just got to find ourselves a Deion Sanders? Well, the problem with that is there's only one Deion Sanders. But you can use the blueprint. Right now, we are seeing a blueprint that you could follow, whether it is personal, business, or at a sport level, that you can implement some of these strategies that he's been able to implement amongst his team. And the first one is being a great leader. You've got to get people to buy in. And how do you buy in? There's no better way to buy in than to listen to somebody that's already done it. I think that's one thing. When you have someone that has already done something, it's a little bit easier to buy in, especially when you do everything that they tell you to do, and the thing that they say is going to happen happens. A little bit easier to buy in. So I can see how he's a player's coach, but also, he's just a really good ball coach, man. Old school, good ball coach. And with old school mentality, with that modern swag, man, it's really fun to watch, and it's really tough to beat. But I think we're going to see that a lot in business. You're going to see that where, hey, what if I just bring in 10 5-stars to my business? What position are we going to be in this time next year? Well, I want to win right now. Let's just go find 20 5-stars. Let's put the investment out there, and let's just see what we can do. Let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can win right now. Because Deion Sanders said he wants to win right now, baby. And listen, man, it is fun to watch. And if he can get that complete package where he gets an interior line, those big boys up front on the offensive and defensive line, which, listen, I think he's got some pretty good ball players that are getting not enough credit as they deserve. We'll see if they run the ball this week against Nebraska. But his outside in, his outside players, his exterior players, his skill players, they're tough, man. Tough, fast, smart, disciplined, and with character. Listen to him. He's been saying that for almost 2 decades coaching these kids. So I hope you guys are willing to take something from this and follow this case study with me, because I truly believe this is the beginning to something new in college sports. It's going to hurt high school recruiting, terribly hurt high school recruiting, but it's going to improve the quality of the game. I will tell you that. I think you're going to see higher level competition at the college level. It's going to make it harder to get into the college level, and it's going to increase the skill of the smaller schools, your D2, your FCS, because now high school kids, most likely, that are on that fringe, that I don't know if that's a good player or not, kind of players like me who coming out of college, we're going to have to go to those schools to prove themselves at that level to then be recruited by guys like Prime at the BCS Power 5 level. So it's fascinating to watch. I'm here for it. I've got my popcorn ready. I'm excited to watch the rest of the season. And also look into Texas State. Texas State did a similar thing. Not the prestige and the clout and the personality and the influence and the celebrity of Deion Sanders that comes with Texas State, but they got a young coach there too, 34 years old. He's studied under some good coaches in the past, but it's cool to see a guy about my age did a similar thing. I think he had 46 transfers come in, got a lot of transfers from the SEC, bunch of 3, 4, 5-star caliber guys, and they went in and they beat the brakes off of Baylor. So guys, you're seeing the blueprint play out right here. The case study and the blueprint and the message is this. Win now. Win now, because you don't have to wait to win anymore. Yes, you need to be patient. Yes, you need to just take everything with a grain of salt. But at the same time, if you believe in yourself as much as you say you do, go win right now. We're seeing that happen right in front of our eyes. So I hope you guys are willing to take something from this. I hope you guys are willing to study a little bit into that. And I hope you guys are willing to reflect back and say, what is my my skill rating? What is my star level within my company? If you had to give everybody a star rating in your company, maybe that's a challenge or a drill that maybe leaders should do, is to sit down and look at everybody as a roster and give them a star rating. You know, see how good are they? What is their potential? When you signed them, what was their star rating? Currently, what is their star rating? Did they go up or down? What's their stock look like? It's really cool. I can't wait to watch the rest of the season. I'm going to keep breaking this down occasionally here as we go. But I hope you guys have a great week. I hope you guys had an awesome Labor Day weekend. And I look forward to hearing from you in the comments and seeing you later down the road. See you later. Peace.